Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Welcome back to another episode, Sam.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So, what you been up to?
Not much. Living life. Watch the D&D movie.
Yes, so did I. I'm disappointed we didn't watch it together.
I know.
It was just something, like, we never even discussed it. We didn't make plans. We just, yeah.
I know.
You know why, right?
Why?
Because it's been a while to record Lost. Like, there's like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We're growing apart as brothers.
Oh, man. It's like I don't even know you anymore.
I know, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess real quick, everyone listening, Sam and I, we did an in-depth, like hour-long discussion about the Dungeons and Dragons movie on our other podcast. So if you haven't listened to it, it's The Adventures of Cinnamon and Oatmeal, Dungeons and Dragons adventure starring two teddy bears. But within that show, we have the Sam Chat, which is kind of like our kind of after talk, kind of just chat show where we just, talk shop in D&D. Mm-hmm. So the latest episode of Sam Chat, I honestly don't know if it's up yet because as of recording this, it's not. It should be.
Hopefully.
So we'll just say it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try and make
pretend
it a point.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the episode should be live by now. So go check it out on the Adventures of Cinnamon and Oatmeal podcast. So I guess just real quick for here, just for anyone who doesn't want to go listen to our in-depth review, what did you think? No spoilers. I'll keep that in mind. If you listen to Sam Chat, we go into a lot of spoilers for the D&D movie.
I was just about to talk about, like the big super mega ultra cameo that was in
that everyone was praising and loving for some reason. But no spoilers here.
So. No, I loved it. I thought it was great. It's a kind of a big throwback to like 80s fantasy, and it's pretty swashbuckling. If you like Princess Bride and Pirates of the Caribbean, it kind of feels like the perfect blend of those two. And it's super fun. It's a thrill ride. I loved everybody in it. It was fun.
Yeah. Very I think in this day and age, well, I was just about to contradict myself because, when they were selling the movie with the trailers and stuff, a lot of people were kind of nervous and complained like, oh, this looks like a Marvel movie, and we went into that on the other podcast, guys, of like, what does that mean? Is that a good or bad thing? Yada, yada. But needless to say, just like what Sam said, like this, actually watching it, it didn't feel like a Marvel movie. It reminded me of like The Mummy, Sam mentioned an 80s adventure. I was going to even say 90s, early 2000s, like Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
But to kind of contradict myself, it also felt very Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So in a good way, it's a positive way. The same way, everyone just met all these characters nobody really knew about because they're such side characters in comics, and they just fell in love with them, And of course, there's tropes, it's D&D, D&D is like has influenced showrunners and movie writers for decades, and now it's kind of come around full circle, and now they're making D&D stuff. It's great. I loved it. Gave it a solid 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. It was fun, If you are into Dungeons and Dragons, listen to our other episode on the other pod about it, because we do bring up some stuff about like, is it accessible to people who haven't really played the game, which I think it is. How many Easter eggs are there for someone who does play D&D and knows a lot about it? We kind of go into that. We kind of go into some of the mechanics about it and things like that. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I hope this is the start of many, many more D&D things. They have confirmed, I think they say Amazon series, or I don't know if it's Amazon, but a live action series. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
They are going to be making a live action series. This was definitely an adventure, almost a comedy. It was a comedic adventure. So I think D&D is perfect to do all sorts of things. You can do a dark and gritty film or series set in this world because there's so many lands and worlds to go to, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the future of this D&D cinematic universe. I don't know. We'll see. And who knows, Sam? Maybe one day we'll get a Spelljammer movie.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Uh-huh.
Especially because we both have some feelings on Spelljammer. So who
Uh-huh.
knows if we even want that?
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But we're not here to
Um.
talk about that.
Yeah. What? Okay. Before we jump into the episode, what else is there to talk about? There's a new Superman cartoon. They literally just dropped the trailer like a few hours ago. It's a
And it's not even
teaser.
it's just the teaser.
Yeah. So
Um,
Jack Quaid is playing Superman,
uh-huh.
which I'm like, that's interesting. So they're definitely going like the younger route. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
excited, especially like this is a had a pretty like tumultuous production history already.
really.
Because it like they announced that they were doing this series like years ago.
Mm,
Um and then I know like COVID really like messed with a bunch of things, and then everything with Warner Brothers and Discovery started messing with things.
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, this show, My Adventures with Superman, it was just announced, I want to say like a month ago on Twitter, to the shock of everybody, including the showrunners, that it was still going, it was still active, and that it was actually going to drop on Adult Swim instead of the regular Cartoon Network line.
Wow.
Yeah, so everybody was wonderfully surprised.
Yeah.
Which is that's kind of a big deal in and of itself, considering that a lot of shows, a lot of especially animated series, were unceremoniously just canceled and then taken off of streaming platforms, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's not
Yeah.
even not just cancel. It's like total deletion
Yeah, yeah.
of this stuff.
Yeah. So
It's wild.
yeah, so and while we probably haven't seen the last of that, I just know everybody is super excited that this project is still going. And yeah, they dropped 15 seconds of a Superman cartoon, and my heart is already full.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for more. It's
Same.
it's good. It's good to have a Superman cartoon. That's kind of like the wild thing to me, is like for like going on 3 decades, we've had superheroes like smashing it at the box office, you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh and on like live action television too, but we haven't really had lasting cartoons, and that
Yeah.
that has always felt weird to me. Like, I don't understand why Marvel hasn't like invested in doing more cartoons, or like little
Yeah.
like side animated movies, kind of
There's
like.
DC has been doing pumping out like two or three straight to DVD or streaming movies a year.
Mhm,
And a lot of it, I mean, it's very hit and miss. Some of the action scenes are really good.
mhm,
I'll give it that. But a lot of these animators don't know how to animate a human face.
yeah.
So I'm very torn about it. I'm like, where are their priorities? What's going on? Is this just their style? Like, I don't understand. Like, some of them are better than others. Some of the casting choices are better than others for sure. But then, like, the one that really pissed me off was the Court of Owls movie, because it's not even called
Mhm,
Court of Owls. It's called Batman versus Robin, and they
mhm,
focus on that relationship between Bruce and Damian, which is interesting, and it was good. It was decent, but they make the Court of Owls just kind of throwaway side characters,
yeah.
and basically Talon is like the main antagonist, and I'm like, that's the dumbest thing, I like to give people, credit and leeway to do what they want creatively, but you have the coolest villains in the Court of Owls, and they just toss them aside, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
And I kind of
I
hear the
agree.
same things about the game Gotham Knights. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah, Gotham Knights.
Because when they first teased it, like it was the game where you're going to be going up against the Court of Owls, and then one, everyone's saying they're just disappointed by the game, and then two, they're disappointed by the Court of Owls. I'm
Hmm.
like, damn it, guys! Comic series, the comic is amazing. I highly recommend everyone go check it out. Court of Owls.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, technically it's just Batman, but like the arc was called Court of Owls.
Yeah,
What's his
yeah.
name? Scott?
Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder. There you go.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's really weird because like it's one of those things. It's one of those comics that's like this feels like a legendary sort of run, legendary intro for the character, and that concept,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got so oversaturated in every other media, like like except the movies,
Mm-hmm.
like they're doing it in like these animated movies, they're using it in video games, they used it in Gotham and Alfred, the Batman's butler show.
Yeah.
They came up and it's like guys, why can't we focus on Court of Owls within like the context of Batman? Why can't we put that in a movie? Why can't we make an animated movie that's just about Batman versus the Court of Owls? That's what made the story so good. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. And now, yeah, because when it was announced that they were the main villains of Gotham Knights, there was like a collective groan within the fan community, like, of course, like they're gonna be the villains, and yet again, we're not gonna see Batman fight them. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
other people,
And that's what makes it them work is because they're so tied into the history of Gotham.
Hmm.
Gotham is like what Batman has been fighting for this whole time. He's the defender.
Hmm.
So to pit him and this secret shadowy organization to against each other, it's so brilliant. Like I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it also has to do with the fact that nobody wants to use Batman. Like they're afraid. Like in the comics, they're gonna put Batman in every single thing they can. You
Hmm.
know, we're redoing, the Birds of Prey, but they're all going to be princesses, and they're all 6 years old. Well, guess what? Batman's there as well.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just made that book up right now, but that's basically what it is. They're gonna put Batman in everything. But when it comes to like TV and stuff, they're gonna do everything they can to get as close to Batman without using Batman.
Yeah.
Titans probably came the closest by actually casting Bruce Wayne and casting like a stuntman to play Batman. But that was
Hmm.
what, for a few episodes? That was it?
Yeah. Then I think it was just in season one. I don't even
Mm,
know if he's there in season two.
damn.
Yeah. 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 Whole other bag of cats.
Yeah, well, it's ending. I don't know. Take that for whatever it is. However you feel about it. I'm just saying it's ending, so oh
Uh-huh.
well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Well, speaking of ending, we're talking about an interesting episode today with
Mm-hmm.
Lost, season 4, episode 7, Ji Yoon. Again, I believe I'm saying that right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you got it right.
Juliet is forced to reveal Sun's affair to Jin in order to prevent Sun from staying on the island. Meanwhile, Saeed and Desmond meet the freighter's captain as more mysteries present themselves.
Mm.
All right, so I think one, I enjoyed this episode a lot more this time than when it originally came out.
Mm.
Two, I think me personally, on this rewatch, I'm really starting to feel the end approaching.
Yeah.
I think this is the episode that kind of did it. I don't know. What about you? Have you felt that yet? Or had you already been feeling it?
I've kind of already been feeling it. I've
Mm,
mostly been feeling like the ramp up,
yeah.
because we came out of the gate swinging with the first couple episodes, you
Yeah.
know. Um but yeah, definitely by the end of this episode, it's like, oh man, yeah, there's something that's coming, you know.
Hmm.
There's, it's the classic, you look off into the distance and you see some slight cloud rumblings and you just say, storm's coming.
Yeah,
That's
because
that's
we've
kind of what
already
the end of this episode felt
they've
like.
already foreshadowed that something happens to Claire. She's not making it off the island.
Yeah.
So that I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind of the start of it. But now it's kind of uh it was almost solidified because it's revealed that Jin doesn't make it off the island either.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh
Yeah. So I guess we finally have our answer to, the Oceanic Six.
yeah. Okay,
Uh
so it's
so it's
Jack,
Jack,
Kate,
Kate,
Hurley,
Hurley,
Aaron,
Aaron,
Saeed,
Saeed,
and Sun.
and Son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh boy.
so did you know the twist at the end of this episode?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
Because when the show aired, I hated it, and a lot of people. It was like the lowest rated episode of the season at the time.
Mm,
But
really?
I don't know. But I mean, that
Compared to
means
last week's?
well, yeah. But I mean that I think, but the ratings require people to watch. So I
Mm,
think it's more because of last week's episode. No one tuned in for this one.
I
So I
gotcha.
think that's what
Okay,
it
okay.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, like this one I didn't okay, we're just going to get out and say it like the twist of the episode is Sun's story is all flash forwards, which we assume because they mention how she's the Oceanic 6. She's having a baby. Uh Meanwhile, Jin's story, he's trying to get to the hospital because a baby's on its way. The twist is it's not his. The
Hmm.
twist is his story is told in flashbacks.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including myself, because it kind of felt like it wasn't like a mystery that we could solve or figure out. It felt like the storytelling was a tool to deceive us,
Hmm.
and yeah, I don't know. Um, but upon this watch, I was like, okay, all right, it's still weird. It's still funky to tell a story, off island story, in both flashbacks and forwards. But I think already knowing it this time around,
Hmm.
I appreciated it more because I was able to spot the clues.
You want to know what the funny thing is?
Hmm.
That so for behind the scenes purposes, listeners, last night my brother texted me at like 11 o'clock at night. Don't forget to watch Lost. Uh, I had already shut off my phone. Like I had a do not disturb. I woke up this morning and I saw that text and I was like, oh, dang it. I forgot to watch Lost. So there I am. I'm feeding the cats. I'm prepping coffee. And I'm pulling up Hulu so I can watch it. And as it's like coming up and doing like the previously on Lost, uh, I had this idea in my head. I was like, no, what would be interesting is if they had two flashbacks from different people in like the same episode. Like that would be a real interesting thing. I wonder if they do that. They kind of did that in like the season 1 pre-finale,
Yeah.
where it was like everybody's getting their flashbacks of the airport and all. But yeah, like it was just the funny little thing that popped in my head. And then so when this episode ends with Jin's in the flashback and Sun's doing the flash forward, I was like, oh, that's weird. Do I have powers?
Oh no.
Am I lucky?
You have
Matt,
island
what are
powers.
what are today's lotto numbers? I
Oh
need to
geez, I know,
know.
right?
Um yeah, it didn't cop out's not the right word, but it did feel like a little bit of like the rug being pulled from under me. And it was like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. Because at first when he presents the panda, to the I don't know, the guy who's his boss is doing business with, whatever. Um, a part of me was like, oh, so they went back to Korea. Oh man, so Sun's back, like Sun and Jin are back under that dude's thumb. Like, Oh, that's sad. He made Jin go on the day of his wife's birth, all that stuff. And then no, like Jin just walks out and is like, nope, not my baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what? And then it, reveals that like, nope, that was all a ruse.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a bit more like shocked than anything. I wasn't really like upset at it or anything. I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh dang. And then the feeling of dread sets in like,
I think that's what sells it.
whoa.
The
Yeah.
implication of like, well, wait a minute. Well, then where is he?
Yeah.
And that's what sells this whole storytelling device. It
Hmm.
reminds me of what it was at the season finale of Walking Dead, when there's a character you don't know who it is, but it's you keep seeing their POV shot, and sure enough, in the finale, that's the character who Negan takes out with the bat.
Hmm.
The problem is, I like the POV person. It wasn't real. It was like a fake out, because I
Yeah.
think you see Daryl at one point, and then at the same time, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is it Daryl? It can't be, because the POV saw Daryl, you
Hmm.
know? And then when you actually find out in the premiere who Negan kills two people, neither one of them could have been the POV from the season finale. So it's just like it was just sloppily done. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It felt like a lie. It was straight up just lying, you know?
Hmm.
I'm like, that sucks. So this, I think the implications of Jin's story being a flashback is what really sells it. It's like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then of course, like we already mentioned, we find out Jin's gone. He didn't make it.
Hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so now that we're talking about this, I have a little behind the scenes, I guess behind the scenes info, Easter egg, whatever. Jin's tombstone says he was born November 27th, 1974. Right next to it is son's name, because they're going to share a tombstone, right?
Hmm.
She was born March 20th, just like me. She's a Pisces. Same day,
Hey.
first day of spring. Oh, that's why her name's Sun.
Aw.
Anyway, my name's Matthew. But she was born March 20th, 1980. So there's a 6-year difference between Sun and Jin,
Mm.
which is considered the least compatible according to the zodiac.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
wild, right?
That's wild.
I even wrote in my notes, I'm like, man, Sun and Jin just can't win.
Hmm.
Can't catch a break. They can't win.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that later when we get to predictions and stuff towards the end.
Hmm.
What else happened this time? Let's talk about the boat, because you would think that you would end the episode with a heavy reveal like that, but they don't. They decide to break your heart instead.
Uh-huh. Because they know what they're doing.
Yeah. So something interesting here. I'm trying to think how to explain this. I think twice in this episode, there's a reference to like 3 days ago, something like that. So
Hmm.
Sun talks about 3 days ago, these people show up, right?
Hmm.
And then Saeed and Desmond say something as well. 3 days ago, we got on a helicopter or something like that. So essentially, I don't have it here, but if you do the math,
Oh
they're on
yeah.
different days.
Yeah.
And they hinted to that in the past. We know there's a time difference, but when they said 3 days, that kind of solidified it that technically Saeed and Desmond, it's Christmas Day for them.
Hmm.
Remember how we talked about that was like last week
Hmm.
when they pull off the Christmas miracle, I guess, and they save everyone from the gas.
Hmm.
So it's Christmas Day for Saeed and Desmond. So on the island, it's the day after Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's really interesting how there's that time difference. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Yeah, that's weird. I hope they explain that some way. Or at least they present it in a way that makes sense at some point, because that's a little too hard to keep track of for me.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So I think that means you essentially you lose like a day and a half travel
Mm.
because that's the only way it would make sense. So when they're on the helicopter, they hit that storm and like they were gone for a day and a half
Mm-hmm.
before they arrived. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's wild. But it's interesting because like they even send Frank back to the island, so who knows when he's going to show up. But the stuff on the boat as well, like things are happening, things are moving, it's picking up.
Mm-hmm.
We find out that we finally meet the captain.
Mm-hmm.
They've been saying it this whole time, don't trust the captain, and this guy just comes out and like he's answering questions, Sam.
I
I was
know.
like, whoa.
I know. It's like, wait a second. What show am I on?
Mm-hmm. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, but he talks about how like his crew are experiencing what can only be described as extreme cabin fever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my god. Okay, how creepy was it when Frank goes to talk to whatever her name is, and he's like, "Your book's upside down,"
Mm-hmm.
and she gets like all pissed off, and I'm like, "Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh man!"
Yeah.
And
And
then
can we talk about the fact that she just walks up on deck wrapped in chains and then
yeah,
just jumps off the side of the boat and
yeah,
nobody does anything?
yeah. It's like this isn't the first time. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man.
That
And
is,
by the way, that actress was Zoe Bell,
I was gonna
stunt woman.
say,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, hey,
It's
that's
like,
cool.
ah.
I hope that wasn't just a one and done for her. I hope she comes back.
Well, she was the other voice on the phone because remember originally it was Mikowski, and then it
Oh,
was a
that's
woman's
right.
voice. That was her. I forgot what her name was. So I'm like, man, okay, okay, this crew is starting to drop like flies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah, so it's wild because like this captain just straight up says like, "Yep, this boat is funded and operated by Charles Woodmore."
Mm-hmm.
And Desmond's like, "Charles Woodmore?" Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. He's like, "Oh, that's right, you know him." And then they go into the cabin and start talking about how like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is the black box from Oceanic Flight 815, which crashed with all 324 people on board dead." And Saeed and Desmond are just like, what the heck? And it's like, and that guy says exactly what I've been worried about. Like, do you know how much time and resources are being put into
Mm-hmm.
making it look like 324 people died, putting their families through that grief? Like,
Mm-hmm.
who's doing that? And he's like, and that's why we've got to stop Ben Linus. Like,
Oh
oh,
no, and he even says, he's like, and the more disturbing question is where do you find 325 dead bodies?
yeah, yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
that's why we need to stop Benjamin Linus. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like
Damn.
this whole series, it's a twisted evil web and
Mm-hmm.
pulling at all the strings are just two powerful white men.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't it always the way?
You know, always the way, man. It's the 1%.
God, I hate the 1%.
I'm just looking through my notes. Oh, I thought this was kind of funny. Kate really oversimplified last week's episode.
Yeah.
But did she? I'm like, technically, that is exactly what happened.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. See, it's oversimplified for them. Obviously,
Yeah.
we who tuned in last week are like, yep, nope, that's pretty much what happened. But I
Yeah.
think, like, as people who are living on this island, just be like, I'm sorry, Caitlin, back the heck up. What just happened?
Yeah.
There's a station full of toxic gas?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, at that point, I would just be pissed and be like, you know what? I'm leaving both camps and I'm just gonna go do my own thing. I don't care what comes after
Yeah.
me. I don't care if nobody comes after
And that's
me.
essentially
I'm
what
fine.
Sun does. She goes and she approaches Daniel and she asks him straight up, are you going to get us off this island? And he can't say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she tells Jin, we're going with Locke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, shoot. And keep in mind, this came out roughly a year after the Marvel Civil War comic.
Mm.
So I was getting like major Civil War vibes this season. I'm like, they're splitting the group. Oh man,
They're switching sides. Yeah.
Sun's defecting. So yeah,
Oh man, I forgot about that. Now
Yeah.
that you say that, it kind of just like snaps me back to all that. And yeah, no, that's kind of perfect. That's kind of the perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
I mean, Sun has absolutely every right. She doesn't trust Daniel or Charlotte. She
Hmm.
doesn't trust Juliet, and it's
Hmm.
totally understandable. Um, and Juliet did the right thing, man. She tattletaled on Sun, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, got to protect that little baby.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, yeah, like look, that was Juliet's job. Her entire job on the island was to make sure that these pregnant women were safe and saved.
Yeah,
And she has failed in every regard on that. So yeah, I get it.
yeah.
It just sucks. It's so underhanded, but I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, Jin had a right to know.
God, and just to see the way, like they were so cute this episode. The way like they're talking in both English and Korean, and like,
Hmm.
but then to see him just like his total heartbreak to find out, I was
Hmm.
like, damn it. And then Bernard shows up at the worst possible time, but it was
As
actually the best time.
as soon as I saw him walking in, I was like, oh no, not Bernard. No,
Yeah,
don't do this. Like,
yeah,
and they knew that. They knew that when they made this episode. They're just like, here's this
yeah,
sweet, touching, tender moment. We don't know what's happening. And here comes Bernard.
yeah.
Hey, you
But
going fishing?
but it was perfect, man, because that's what he needed. Well,
Mhm.
kind of. It's not what Jin wanted, but it's what he needed. Like you could tell Jin needed someone just to be with, because I don't even think he didn't confide in Bernard. He just wanted that presence there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I did like how they mentioned that they're the only two married couples on the island.
Hmm.
Um, so that's
Not to each
interesting.
other though.
Oh, not to each other. He's like, oh no, no. But yeah, like I really like Bernard's very simplistic viewpoint. You know, he's like, I don't want to leave this island because Rose could die, but
Hmm.
she's not going with Locke because he's a murderer.
Hmm.
He's a bad person. Like, we're the good guys. He's like, and it's karma, Jin. You do good things will come to you.
Hmm.
Yeah, and in that moment, Jin was agreeing. He's like, this is karma. He's
Hmm.
like, because he's come to term. He's grown as a character, and like he knows who he was, and he tells Sun that at the end. And it was great
Hmm.
because like we started the show very contentious between Sun and Jin, and then they grow closer, and then they grow apart, and then closer, and then they break them apart again. It's been back and forth, but the way they do it in this episode was really well done,
Hmm.
and it was all solved by the end of the episode, and that was nice. Like,
Hmm.
okay, they're still together, thank God.
Hmm.
I
Till
think,
the end.
yeah, it would have been totally terrible if the episode ended and they were separated again.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, they're
Yeah.
they're they're the Korean Anna and Mr. Bates from Downton Abbey. Like they just can't win. You
It's
know,
true. It's true.
one season he's on trial for murder. The next season she's on trial for another murder, and they're both innocent. Just the wrong place at the wrong time. Come
Hmm.
on, Julian fellows,
Hmm.
you can do better than that.
I see you. I see you cribbing Lost.
Yeah. Downton Abbey's just lost without all the supernatural sci-fi elements.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's just people who don't know how to communicate, damn it.
Hmm. And in
Uh,
lieu of like a giant smoke monster, it's just World War I. The horrors of World War I.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss that show.
Season 185.
True. Now I'm thinking about my Lost prequel, where you have this super ultra rich family from the 1920s get on a plane and crash land on the island somewhere.
Oh man, upstairs, downstairs, but on an island.
I just love Downton Abbey. I always want to take those characters and put them in something,
Hmm.
like put them in a D&D, adventure, put them in a murder mystery, throw them
Hmm.
on the Lost Island. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so I mean, things were worked out. There, it
Hmm.
is Jin's baby, but we knew that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess, yeah. The only really major thing that happened was Desmond and Saeed. They meet the janitor of the ship,
Mm-hmm.
one Mr. Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, he's just Kevin Johnson,
He's
man.
just
There's
Kevin
nothing special
Johnson.
about him. He's Kevin Johnson. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Friendly neighborhood janitor is about to mop up some blood.
Uh-huh. Who
Uh-huh.
just happens to be played by Harold Perrineau, who we haven't seen since season 2 as
Mm-hmm.
Michael when he left the island with Walt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is it. This is the guy. Oh, because they were talking about in this episode. Ben said he has a spy on this boat. Who is it? We know someone left them a note this episode. Last week, someone unlocked the door for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And they thought it was Frank. And Frank was like, no, I didn't let you out.
Yeah.
Here, eat some lemon beans.
Yeah.
Man, when he was walking with like that brown paper bag, I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking, dude, there better be some greasy like cheeseburgers in there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Right?
I was thinking of that place that used to be by the house where there was like what, like it was like 5 burgers for like
Floyd's.
Floyd's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 5 burgers for like 25 cents.
Yeah, 25 cents each. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're little
yeah,
burgers, but I'm like, dude, that's a whole meal right there for you. 5 tiny, they're kind of like sliders, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, dude, I was like, oh, awesome. Brown paper bag, man.
Uh-huh. Nope, it's just a can.
That's how you
It's
know
just
it's
a
going to be a good time.
it's just a bag full of lima beans. I was like, dang,
Yeah.
that's a shame. Now I want some greasy burgers right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, Michael, aka Kevin Johnson, or maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
just like twin brothers. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe this is a soap opera thing, and like Michael got his head hit on the side of a boat or something.
Oh, and he can
And
only speak Spanish.
yeah, something like, well, why is his name Kevin Johnson if he can only speak
Oh, that's
Spanish,
true.
Matt?
That's true. I don't know because he's a
What's
spy.
what's the Spanish equivalent of Kevin? Kevano.
Kivano, I don't
No, that's
know.
probably a bad word.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Or there's a time difference between the island and off world. He's actually playing a grown up Walt who's pretending to be Kevin Johnson.
whoa, dude. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'd
Who
buy
knows?
that.
I'd buy that too.
I'd buy that for
Um,
25 cents.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I guess I'm gonna slip into my predictions here. Like, I feel like, what if that's a fake out? And what if the
How's
woman
it-
who jumped over the side of the boat is actually Ben
Oh.
Linus's spy?
Could be. We don't know.
You know, there's 3 that I'm considering. One is, her. I thought her name was Regina.
I think so. That might be
Um,
it.
So I think Regina, who just jumped off the boat, she was up there, but like the doctor, just in that like end scene, I was like, could it be the doctor? Is he Ben's spy? Because I feel like that would be a very Lost sort of thing to do, where it's like, oh no, it's actually this character who's surprised you haven't seen since season 2, and it's like, wait, of course it's Michael, of course, and he's got a different name. Oh my god! And then a couple episodes later, you can be like, nope, actually, this guy.
Yeah.
And Michael's there, for whatever reason, or he like is actually secret, not like secret agent, but like he's like spying it up for Charles Widmore for some reason,
Oh yeah. With the show, it could be any of those.
It could be
Can't
anything.
put it past anyone.
It could be all of them. It could be none of them.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love seeing Hurley at the end of it. So okay.
Yeah, that was
so-
nice.
So timeline wise, Sun was pregnant for about 8 weeks at what was that during season 3, I think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was during season 3. So now we're probably 2 weeks since then, season 4. It's always hard to tell. I think it's only like 2 weeks later,
I think so.
maybe a little longer. So 10-ish weeks. So we're looking at 2.5 months. She's been pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So she has her baby 6-7 months from this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty early. Because we were talking about what's the timeline of the flash forwards,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because the furthest one looks like Jax back in the finale last year, where Jax just totally lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because he's totally sane and cool in Hurley's, and
Mm-hmm.
Hurley's lost it. He's also totally cool in Kate's, and Kate seems to be doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost seems like the flashbacks were actually going further back, maybe.
I think so. That's kind of what it feels like.
That's what it feels like. And we honestly don't know how long it's been for Saeed,
Yeah.
because they don't really talk about like a time frame or anything like that.
Yeah. Well,
So
we just know that he was there in Germany for like, or wherever he was for like a month, I think.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't know like how long it's been since the crash or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it does seem like the flashbacks are going further and further closer to getting off the island, whenever that was.
Mm-hmm.
So, in approximately 6 to 6.5 months, Sun's gonna have her baby off the
Yeah.
island.
Yeah.
So it was cool seeing Hurley, especially because he wasn't in this episode until that last scene.
Mm-hmm.
So he got to meet the little baby, the little girl,
Mm-hmm.
Ji Yoon,
Mm-hmm.
which I think means I didn't write it down, like flower of wisdom or something very poetic like that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's cool. Okay, so I mean, this one's kind of easy, but MVPs,
Yeah. Son.
Sun, right?
Son, obviously.
Yeah, I think Daniel Day Kim did good as well, but like
Mm-hmm.
Sun stole like every scene she was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there it was kind of cool already knowing the twist this time, going back and watching, because there were little hints like we see Jin's temper come back when he's
Mm-hmm.
freaking out because he loses the panda. Also, his cell phone is this big bulky thing. I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big one, which I didn't really catch, but I looked it up and referenced it, is the Year of the Dragon reference. That really kind of put it okay,
Mm-hmm.
like that's nowhere near
Yeah.
present day or whatever. Nobody recognized him. All of the Oceanic Six have been recognized at this point.
Oh,
So
that's true.
nobody
Yeah.
recognizes Jin in this at all. So I'm like, okay, that was cool. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah. Okay, Sam. Predictions.
Yeah, well, mentioned my, Michael might not be
Mm-hmm.
Ben's spy. Uh I'm a little unsure about Jin being dead.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's going to be a thing where it's like we leave off this season with like a cliffhanger for Jin
Yeah.
and then kind of just like assume that like, oh, he's dead, but then when we eventually get back to the island or whatever, nope, he's alive,
Yeah.
riding
See,
the smoke monster.
that's kind of interesting too, because at this point, like, where's the story going? Obviously, the on island stuff is leading to them getting off.
Yeah.
But where are the flash forwards going? All we see is like everyone's lives is starting spiraling out of control. So it's like, okay, where's that going? Because we're watching two stories at the same time. We don't know where one of them is going. So, yeah, that's interesting. It is worth noting this was episode 7, so we are halfway done with season 4.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, maybe a little sooner, because like that episode's like a 2-parter, the finale.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh man, it's going
Time will tell.
fast.
Yeah.
It's going fast, and it's great. With the exception of last week's, it's pretty damn solid season. I think like it's definitely my favorite.
Even this episode for me, like it wasn't, like the mind blowing or whatever as like
Yeah.
the first couple episodes of this season, but yeah, this was still pretty solid, very lost.
And it brings back Sun and Jin, who have mostly been absent this season. They've kind of been on the sidelines, but it really brings them back into play. It's not just like, oh, they're going off on this side adventure. Like, no, it's created all these new questions now, and they're back into like the main plot. Like, okay, what's going to happen to them?
yeah, even like the finale of season 3, like they
Mhm.
really weren't a part of that, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so like yeah, them like fully coming back and having their own episode like this, yeah, this is big. So I'm excited
yeah.
to see where they go.
Okay, well, next time, talking about season 4, episode 8, meet Kevin Johnson, which again, damn Hulu, Harold Perrineau is on the little picture. Did you
Mhm.
notice that?
Yeah.
I was like, damn it.
Yeah. But hey, at least I saw the episode this time. So like
Oh,
watching it, I
yeah, so,
wasn't
so did you not see
surprised.
that coming?
No.
Oh, that's good. You see,
Yeah.
that's good. Awesome.
Yeah.
It was a cool reveal too, like he's kind
Hmm.
of just walking out of the shadow and you're like, wait a minute, is
Hmm.
that?
He's even like saying that he like, nah, I gotta go on deck. And the doctor's like, no, you gotta clean this up. And he
Yeah.
doesn't say anything. He just starts moving over there, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh crap.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, next week we'll get to meet him when we season 4 episode 8 meet Kevin Johnson, in which Saeed confronts Ben Spy question mark.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, Ben grows desperate. And Sam, who the hell is Kevin Johnson?
I don't know.
We're gonna find out next week.
I don't know. He hit his head and for some reason only spoke Spanish.
He has amnesia. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he thinks he's like the leader of a cartel or something, like in Miami Vice that happens to Sonny Crockett. He's undercover and he gets like wounded and he doesn't remember that he's a cop. So he starts to think like all his memories are like, or so all he knows is like, oh crap, I'm in this. I'm a drug smuggler.
This is the show?
This is the
Or
show.
movie?
No, this is a show.
Okay. Okay.
Like, oh my god.
oh my
He
god.
might shoot Tubbs as well. I don't remember.
Oh gosh.
Like, yeah, because it's been like months, and they like arrest him as soon as he walks into the station. I was like, oh god. But I don't know what happens. I'm gonna have to go watch Miami Vice now.
Oh gosh.
Do 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 do. As always, guys, hit us up. # Lost Legacies. Let us know how you're enjoying this season. Let us know your predictions. If you haven't watched the show before and you're watching with us, let us know your predictions. Also, I'm on Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And I am on Twitter and Instagram at Reel, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
Till next time, get lost.
Get lost.